This is Miss Hedstrom here with your phonics lesson. And lucky for you, my computer crashed on Wednesday and it took them all day to get it restarted and get everything back. So Miss Tyne, Mr. Ratter, and myself decided that you were just going to get 2 lessons on Thursday instead of 4. And so today you are getting yesterday's lesson and today's. But don't worry, I'm not going to make it extra long or extra hard. So this week we are working with ER and OR endings. And the ER and OR endings added to your base word mean that it's somebody who. So we have a base word to teach, but you add to make it teacher, and it means it's somebody who teaches. A teacher is somebody who teaches. Base word write becomes writer. It's somebody who writes. Read becomes reader, somebody who reads. Farm becomes farmer, somebody who farms. Garden becomes gardener, somebody who gardens. Paint becomes painter, somebody who paints. Now, there are 2 columns, a left and a right side. These words all have the ER added to them. These ones over here have OR. There is no rule as to when OR is added. You just have to remember them. Go, I'm in the middle of a video. You just have to remember. Sorry, my daughter came in and was trying to talk to me. So let's look at these. Act, when it's somebody who does it, it becomes actor. Visit, somebody who's doing it becomes visitor. Visitor, I should say. Sail is your base word. Add your OR, becomes somebody who sails. So sailor. Sculpt becomes sculptor. Direct becomes director. So we are now going to make some words. And I got my mouse with me this time, my wireless mouse. So hopefully this goes a little better. And the first word we're going to make is jogger. Jogger. So I think about the base word I hear there, and I hear jog. J. Now I know a jog could be a J sound or a G. And in this case, I know it's a J. So, whoops. So much for really. When I practiced this, it went a lot smoother, I promise. Are you kidding me? Finally. Oh. Okay, let's make that a little bit smaller. Maybe that will help. Okay. Jog. Og. Bet you would grab the... Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Jog is my base word for jogger. Jogger. Now, if I just add my ER ending, it's going to say jogger because this E is going to make the O say its name. I don't want to say jogger. That's not even a word. I want to say jogger. So in order to keep that O short, I need to add another G. Come on. There we go. Jogger. And I forgot to do this last time, so we're going to do it this time. We're going to clap it. J-O-G-G-E-R. Jogger. Base word jog becomes jogger. Now, the next word we're going to make is singer, or somebody who sings. So before I begin, I want to think about the base word that I hear. And in singer, that base word is Sing. And actually, you know what? I'm going to leave my ER up here because all of our words are going to have that ending. Sing. I hear the S sound. So I'm going to pull up my S. I, I. Or I could even break it apart into a smaller ending, and I hear the ing, and I know ing is ing. I-N-G. So I have that base word sing. To make it somebody who, I add my ER for it to say singer. Singer. S-I-N-G-E-R. Singer. And the last word we are going to make is going to be gardener. Gardener, or somebody who gardens. And that is very fitting for this time of year because I have been anxiously awaiting getting out and being able to plant. Now, I don't garden vegetables. I usually just do flowers. But nevertheless, it's super fun and it's fitting for spring. So, gardener. Think about that base word garden, and I hear g, g, g. Gar, and I know R is the AR. We learned about that earlier in the year. Garden. Den. D is the D. I'll use this E. Garden. I hear that N. Garden. Gardener. Gardener. Somebody who gardens. Now, we're going to look at a few more root words that become somebody who with the ER-OR ending. So we have paint becomes painter. Write becomes writer, somebody who writes. Farm becomes farmer, somebody who farms. Act becomes actor. Notice this is one that has the OR ending. Remember that because, again, there's no rule. Sail becomes sailor. Again, an OR ending. Visit becomes visitor or visitor, another ER or OR ending. And we're not doing a whole lot of that now with coronavirus, but when you go visit someone, you become a visitor. Swim becomes swimmer, someone who swims. Run becomes runner, somebody who runs. Come on. Rob becomes robber, somebody who robs or steals. Not a good thing. And I guess that's my last one. Okay. So last week and when we were in school, we would read a story, find our word patterns in our story, highlight them, and use them in sentences. Since I'm combining two lessons in one, we're going to read the story and I'm going to identify them just so you can see them. You're not going to be doing this on your own. So your job right now is just to listen. So the story today is called Farmer Brown's Barn. Remember, we are looking for the ER-OR endings that mean somebody who. Farmer Brown's Barn. Farmer Brown hired a painter to paint his barn. The paint's in the shed, he said. I'll be back later. There were many different colors of paint in the shed. The painter chose barn red. Soon a visitor came by. May I help? Asked the visitor. Sure, answered the painter. The paint's in the shed. The visitor was a sailor, and he chose a color that sailors like. In a little while, another visitor came by and asked to help. The paint's in the shed, said the painter. The visitor was a gardener, and she chose two colors that gardeners like. When Farmer Brown returned, he looked at his barn, red, sea blue, grass green, and sunflower yellow barn. I love it, he said. Now, we are going to go back up. I need to get my paint here. Oh, there it is. It was hiding. Okay. And pull it down. Gotta make it a little bit more transparent, a little bit bigger, and I want yellow. Okay. Now, when I find an ER and OR word, I'm going to highlight it. Farmer Brown's barn. Farmer Brown hired a painter to paint his barn. The paint's in the shed, he said. I'll be back later. Now, I'm not going to underline later because that ER ending is not a somebody who. That is just an ER ending. There were many different colors of paint in the shed. The painter chose barn red. Soon a visitor came by. May I help? Asked the visitor. Sure, answered the painter. The paint's in the shed. The visitor was a sailor, and he chose a color that sailors like. Whoops. I guess I can't do that. Well, we learn something new every day. Erase all. Erase all. Okay. Well, we won't be able to go back and read again, but so be it. In a little while, another visitor came by and asked to help. The paint's in the shed, said the painter. This visitor was a gardener, and she chose two colors that gardeners like. When Farmer Brown returned, he looked at his barn, red, sea blue, grass green, and sunflower yellow barn. I feel like his... Oh, barn red's the name of the color. Oh, that's why I keep getting confused. Okay, I'm going to reread it because barn red is the color. When Farmer Brown returned, he looked at his barn red, sea blue, grass green, and sunflower yellow barn. I love it, he said. That makes a lot more sense. I should have noticed since the B is capital. It meant it was a proper noun, so it's naming something. And it's barn red is the name of the color. That was really confusing, actually. So, okay, so we're going to get rid of that. So your job today, and actually I'm going to just go into Seesaw to show you it in there. And Seesaw is I have given you your base words or root words. You are going to tell me it's someone who, and then the root word. So for example, this isn't the root word. This is the word with the ending. So the ER-OR ending. So a cleaner is someone who cleans, and your root word is clean. Climber is someone who climbs, and the root word would be climb. So you're going to do this for all of these words, the someone who, and then tell me the root word. I would recommend using this text box feature just so that it's more legible for your teacher to read. It also will be less frustrating for you because writing on a screen can be difficult, especially when you have